Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever really stopped to think about how the same English word, maybe water, sounds completely different depending on who's saying it?
Absolutely.
You get water maybe in New York, wado over in London, sometimes even wada down in Sydney. It's quite something.
It really is.
So what's actually behind all that? Today, we're doing a deep dive looking into your sources to trace the incredible journey of the English accent. We'll explore its history, identity, class, culture,
Yeah.
really trying to get at what makes our voices so uniquely ours.
And I think as we look at this material, it's so clear that accents aren't just, sounds. They're incredibly rich, like living historical records, cultural archives almost, just packed with stories waiting for us to unpack them. Tells us so much.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Where do we start? Maybe travel back, way back, like 1,500 years.
Yeah, to the very beginning of English.
And it's wild to think the original English accent, we probably wouldn't even recognize it today.
Not at all. It would sound completely foreign.
Our sources say Old English basically arrived with the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, right, from modern-day Germany and Denmark.
That's the foundation. They brought that Germanic base.
Yeah.
But that was really just the start, the first layer.
Right.
Because then you had huge influences piling on. The Norman Conquest, 1066, that brought in a massive amount of French.
Okay.
Then there was Latin, mainly through the church. And Norse from Viking settlers. You can't forget them.
Ah, yes.
And even some hints of Celtic from the Britons who were there before. All of this mixing just created, well, a totally new linguistic landscape. Middle English.
And then the big one for pronunciation, wasn't it? The great vowel shift.
Oh, absolutely pivotal. Around the 1500s, give or take.
Leading to modern English. Can you give us a sense of what that actually sounded like without getting too technical?
Well, okay, imagine the long vowel sounds we use, like the E in meat or the O sound in boat.
Yeah.
Over a couple of centuries, those sounds, essentially, shifted upwards in the mouth. The tongue position changed. What used to be pronounced lower and more open became higher and further forward.
Yeah.
So think about words like name or house. Today's pronunciation is the result of that shift. Back then, the vowels were much more open, sounded quite different. It really retuned the whole sound of the language.
Wow. Okay, so that's the deep history. But accents quickly became more than just sounds, didn't they? They turned into social signals.
Oh, definitely. Powerful ones. Your sources really dig into this, how they start reflecting not just region, but class, social standing.
Right. Like in the UK, you get received pronunciation, RP, BBC English.
Exactly. And the fascinating thing there is it wasn't really tied to a place, not like, say, a Yorkshire accent. It became associated with education, the elite. It was aspirational, a sign you were part of a certain social group.
And then you had the flip side, working class accents like Cockney or Scouse, often hit with unfair stereotypes, right?
Very much so. They carried different social weight entirely. Although it's worth noting, while RP gained dominance in powerful circles, many regional accents kept their strong identities.
Sure.
And within their own communities, they had immense local prestige. The value was context-dependent.
But broadly speaking.
Broadly speaking, yes, RP became linked to upward mobility. It really highlights how accents became this instant shorthand, a way to quickly size someone up, rightly or wrongly.
Which makes you think, what assumptions are we still making based on how people talk?
It's a crucial question, constantly relevant.
Okay, so English starts spreading. The empire expands. And it doesn't just spread, it changes, adapts, sometimes in really surprising ways.
It really does. And here's a bit of an irony your sources point out. Modern American English actually holds on to features that were common in older British English.
Like what?
The main one is the erratic R. That hard R sound in words like car or hard.
Right. Americans tend to pronounce that R.
Exactly. That used to be common in Britain centuries ago. But then British English, especially in southern England, started softening, dropping that R sound after vowels.
Huh. So American English is, in a way, more conservative phonetically.
In some respects, yes. It preserves sounds that changed later in Britain.
Okay, what about somewhere like Australia? Completely different story, right?
Totally unique blend.
Yeah.
The sources talk about this mix of convicts, settlers, interacting with indigenous languages too.
Right.
Resulting in that really distinctive sound. Kind of musical, sometimes a bit nasal, instantly recognizable.
And India. Huge diversity there.
Immense diversity. You can't really talk about one Indian accent. It's shaped by so many local languages interacting with the formal British education system over decades.
Like 70 years of blending, the sources said.
At least, yeah. It's created this incredibly rich, varied soundscape.
And the sources mention others too: South Africa, Singapore, Jamaica with its patois, the Philippines.
Each adding its own unique rhythm, its own flavor. English didn't just arrive, it got woven into the local fabric everywhere it went.
Okay, let's pause here for a clarification. Because people often mix these up. Accent versus dialect. What's the key difference?
It's a really important distinction. Simply put, accent is about how you pronounce words, the sounds,
Just the sounds.
just the sounds. Dialect is broader. It includes pronunciation, yes, but also different vocabulary and sometimes even different grammar.
Okay, so the example from the sources was good. Someone from Liverpool saying book differently.
Maybe sounding more like buck. That's S.
Right. But if that same person says I were going instead of I was going,
That's grammar. That's part of a dialect that goes beyond just the sound. Helps to keep that straight.
definitely. Okay, so we've got history, geography, social layers. What about the brain? How do we actually pick up and process these sounds? The science bit.
Well, the interesting thing is how early it happens. Most people basically lock in their lifelong accent by around age 12.
12. That early.
Yeah. Our brains are like sponges for the sounds we hear most often during those key developmental years. It sets the patterns.
Well, people can change accents later, right? Or adapt.
Oh, absolutely. There's still flexibility. You see it especially in bilingual or multilingual communities. People code switch all the time,
Code switching. I mean,
shifting between accents or even languages depending on the situation, who they're talking to. Sometimes it's conscious, often it's completely unconscious. The brain just adapts.
and then you have people deliberately aiming for a neutral accent, maybe for international work.
Exactly. Trying to minimize strong regional markers to be more easily understood across different English-speaking groups.
And mimics
Mhm.
and actors. How do they do it?
Huh. That's extraordinary skill, isn't it? A combination of a good ear, vocal control, and a lot of practice. They train themselves to hear and reproduce incredibly subtle phonetic details. Russian, Texan, you name it.
It's like a vocal superpower.
Mm.
Okay, let's shift to media and culture, because accents carry huge weight there.
Undeniably. For decades, think about Hollywood casting.
Oh, yeah. The villains often had.
British accents. That sort of sophisticated evil trope became really common.
While the heroes were often American-sounding. Rebellious, maybe. Straightforward.
Generally, yes. It created these subconscious associations through sheer repetition in popular culture.
But that's changing, isn't it? Particularly in the UK.
Yes, there's been a noticeable shift. Accents like Cockney, once maybe looked down on or seen as just common, have gained a kind of coolness factor.
Right.
Thanks to huge stars like Idris Elba or Adele, people who proudly use their natural accents, they've helped redefine what sounds prestigious or desirable.
That's great. But the biases haven't vanished, have they? The sources mentioned studies.
No, they definitely haven't. The research is pretty clear. People still make judgments about competence, trustworthiness, even intelligence based purely on accent.
Even in things like job interviews.
Sadly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Some studies show clear bias against certain regional accents, regardless of the candidate's actual qualifications. It's often unconscious bias at work.
A filter we don't even realize we're using sometimes.
Precisely. It makes you really question your own instant reactions to how someone speaks.
So thinking about today's world, much more globalized, we're seeing this rise of the neutral accent you mentioned.
We are. You hear it a lot in international contexts, call centers, YouTube tutorials, global business meetings.
People trying to smooth out the regional edges.
Often, yes. The goal is usually clear communication across borders. It's less about losing identity, maybe, and more about facilitating understanding.
But you wouldn't want everyone to sound the same.
Absolutely not. The richness is in the diversity. Global English isn't one sound. It's this huge, vibrant collection of voices.
And they're not static. That's key, right? Accents keep evolving.
Constantly. That's one of the most exciting things. Your sources highlight how young people, especially, are creating new blends all the time.
Mixing slang, social media influences.
Exactly. Think about Multicultural London English, MLE. It's this dynamic mix drawing from Caribbean Creoles, South Asian languages, West African influences.
With its own rhythm and vocabulary. Totally. Or think about youth accents in New York, blending sounds and styles from Caribbean, African American, Latino backgrounds. New forms are emerging right now.
It's language alive, happening in real time.
It really is. Which leads to that big question. What's the future? Will we eventually get one single global English accent? Or will we just have thousands more?
Hard to predict.
Impossible. But fascinating to watch. It's this continuous dynamic process.
So to wrap up our deep dive today, maybe the main takeaway is this.
Mm.
Next time you hear an accent, any accent, pause for a second.
Realize it's more than just how words sound.
It's a story, isn't it?
It really is. A story of where that person's been, the sounds they've grown up with, their community, their identity. It's all packed in there.
And remember, English doesn't belong to one group. It belongs to everyone who speaks it.
And every single accent adds to its richness, its vitality. It's proof that language is alive and always, always changing.
So keep listening. Keep noticing. Yeah, think about it. What new accents might be bubbling up right now? Maybe even in your own community. And what about your own voice? What story does it tell about your journey?
Loads to think about. There's always more to explore in the world of language.